right, man, you in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Wright to Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. We got MC Jen on the phone. How you doing, sir?
Greetings, fellas. Greetings, everybody. How y'all doing?
Man, we're doing good. And yourself?
Good, good. Well, as of right now, I'm currently in L.A., just enjoying the weather. It's definitely better than New York, but, I'm torn because I would give anything to jump on a plane and go home because, wife and son are at home. So, yeah, making the most of my time out here, though.
Man, first of all, we just want to say thank you, man, for getting on the phone with us. It's a big honor, man. I personally been watching you all the way, back in the day. I was watching 106, and I saw you come on just killing people, you know what I mean? And just to see you go through that transformation, man, and it's just been an honor to see that happen in your life, man. It's, it gives encouragement to, kids like me who, love God, and they can see somebody in your position make that same transformation, man. So just tell us, how has it been, man, living this life?
Oh man, well thank you for the encouraging and super encouraging words. I mean, as you stated, kind of just piggybacking off of what you just said, remembering it from back in the days, and I think that's what blows me away too is just how time has passed, and not only just that it's been 10+ years since what you referenced, the whole Freestyle Friday thing. So not only that it's been 10 years plus, but also what has transpired in the 10 years. And, it's just been a lot of things, a lot of twists and turns, a lot of, very awesome, joyful experiences, but also a lot of, real difficult and challenging times as well. And I think for me, if I had to summarize it, I think what I'm grateful for is that I really believe there was a purpose for all of those moments, both the highs and the lows. And in some cases, I think I got more out of the lows than the highs. And what I mean by that is, be it, pertaining to my career and how it unfolded, or, even the battling thing, to date, what most people know me for. It's the first thing you pointed out. It was the battling thing. And sometimes it overwhelms me that, people. And I'm thankful God, I'm sure this is, a way God chooses to comfort me too. Because sometimes I can't even let go of certain things that happened in the past, specifically as it pertains to battling. I sometimes even, I place myself in somewhat of a very, a less than celebratory environment, which is, I still dwell on the losses, not in terms of not in terms of feeling bitter about it. I'm thankful about it, because I think it was the losses that really allowed me to have these awesome reality checks. But what I mean is, it blows my mind that when people bring up my battling, they still choose to put emphasis not so much on the defeat, but more so on the glory of it all. And, like I said, it's something that I try to find balance it all the time, because I know that, the glory and the victory and the achievements were definitely, a blessing from God. But I really think it was those setbacks and the moments that, I fell from that victorious place that allowed me to kind of just assess, whoa, what's really going on here? And I'm talking real, deeper level as far as just finding, where my identity was at. Wait a minute, maybe I do have more to offer to the world than just being a battle rapper. Whereas at one time, I didn't realize that, So when I see my identity as a battle rapper being just torn apart left and right, it makes me question, what else do I have to offer? So that, that's kind of the summary of what the journey has been like in the last few years. It's really just been the last 2 to 3 years that I've been able to have this type of insight and breakthrough. I think that's kind of the whole point of it all is it's definitely a journey. I think especially as it pertains to, this, the topic we're talking about, our faith and whatnot, it's so easy to really kind of put it in a box like, when did you become a Christian? Or, when did this happen or this happen? But, I can't speak for anybody else, but at least for myself, it's without a doubt been a process that's still going on right now, But what's cool and exciting about it is that, the more you grow in it, the more you see just a lot of the beauty of coming into this type of, space where you start seeing what are the things that you truly value in life, what are the things that, mean mean the most to you, and you start finding the purpose in what you do. I'm not talking about just for me as a rapper, but, you know, you, myself, and anyone even listening. So I think that's the best part, and sometimes the part that we kind of overlook when we share the gospel, when we go out there and try to be that light, you know, we just tell people, yo, it's a process, you know, because it's definitely not just accept Christ now, everything's going to be fine and dandy for you when you wake up in the morning, you know, take 2 of these and call me, right? Nah, it's an ongoing process, and I think that's the most exciting part of it.
So now what do you see? What's your goal now? Like now, because, I mean, I'm just telling you from our point of view as somebody, we've been doing this show for 8 years now, Ryan?
Yes.
Yes. So we've you know, just been observing for a while. Like now, where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself you know, penetrating the industry and changing it? Or are you just saying, like, what do you see? What's your goals now?
Well, I think what I'm feeling led is you know, it's the music and what I do, right, with the platform is one part of it, but I'm in the current season where I think I'm starting to feel like, you know, or God's put it on my heart that what's also equally as important and mindful that I have to be mindful of is off the mic and behind the mic and off the stage, and when I'm not, you know, MC Jen. Like when I'm at home and I'm just, you know, I'm my wife's husband, I'm my son's father, right? I'm my parents' son, and it's how do I function and operate there? Or even, I read this quote online that was real awesome, right? Which was, you know, even beyond the faith is basically who you are when you're by yourself is who you truly are.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So now, if you take that same concept and apply it to us as, you know, apply it to believers or people who want to grow in their faith, I think that's absolutely a great reminder and a challenge. Is, you know, it's one thing when, I'm doing this interview with you and, you know, I carry myself, you know, super Christ-like and everything is very encouraging and positive and uplifting. But equally as important, or if not even more important, is, what am I doing with my life outside of this, like when I'm by myself, when I'm you know, wherever, right, when I'm not in the public eye. So for me, that's kind of the stage I'm in, and it's totally kind of where the Hypocrite project comes from. You know, the whole concept and the idea behind not only just that song specifically, but the whole project is just really wanting to be as open and honest and transparent as you know, as I can, and you know, really that in itself is a great opportunity to seek God for that type of strength. Because you leave it up to me, you know, I'll definitely say, I'm going to lay it all out there, you know, my vulnerable side and things that I'm challenged with. But it's tough, you know, like forget about, you know, the fact that that's like the last thing you're supposed to do as a rapper or as an MC, but just as people, you know, like as a man especially, you're like, I can't let the world see that I'm struggling or this is one of my weaknesses. But, you know, a part of me and what I wanted to do with Hypocrite was really challenge myself to break that mindset. And then even specifically with, you know, the hypocrite, like that term and the idea behind it is, you know, almost not so much accepting I'm a hypocrite and that's how it's going to be. Not like that, but accepting, you know what, I am a hypocrite and that's why I need, you know, I'm so dependent on God and, you know, this faith of mine, which I go to for inspiration, for strength, you know, for courage. And the whole, you know, wearing a hat that says hypocrite, you know, it's not so much like, I'm a hypocrite and I'm proud, but it's more so like, I'm a hypocrite and I want to be honest with myself about that. And this music, what I want to do is both, it's kind of like, it's conflicting, but I believe it makes sense, is I want to encourage, but also challenge listeners too. You know, I don't know if you guys have had the chance to really dig into the project yet, but it's just been amazing to see in the last few days since it's been released, the type of feedback that I'm getting. So it's not necessarily like, you know, it may not be like, this is banging, the beats is banging, the rhymes is dope, and, you know, that like, I try to tune that out, actually, because that's the stuff that will distract me and pull me away from the mission at hand. But what's really been encouraging is seeing the response that goes along the lines of, this song really challenged me, Jen. This song really convicted me, Jen. And, we live in the information age, so there's actually a link that I tweeted, like, late last night of this young lady. Her name is Tracy. And I only share this because I asked her, is it okay if I share it? And, she recorded a YouTube video and sent me the link, and it was public already. But still, I was like, is it okay if I share this with the general public, and tweet it? And she was like, absolutely. So in her 4 or 5 minute video, she was just telling me that the project and how it spoke to her, but more specifically, one of the songs, Don't Walk, Run. And she, went as in detail as basically saying how, she was dealing with sexual abuse at a young age and how that affected her as she grew up to the point where now that is like something she's struggling with, being misled to think that love and being wanted by men sexually are the same thing, and in some way that's even how she kind of seeks love. And it's intense. So my thing is like, that right there trumps, any type of accolade or award from any particular platform, big or small. Yeah. When you hear someone say to you, this is what this song did for me or is doing to me, in a good way, of course, like challenging her and encouraging her, man, that's a whole nother level. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, where I'm at now mentally and when I approach this platform, my craft, it's something else. It's something that is new to me, so I still am quite often overwhelmed by it. So, but, I'm learning too. Like, I'm, the last thing I want to come across is like, I got the answers, y'all. Come holler at me and I'll give it to you. No, not at all. The whole concept of hypocrite is saying, man, I'm just as broken as y'all. So let's try to encourage and challenge each other, like, and walk together.
That's awesome, man. Awesome.
Well, and this is Ryan Righteous. I got a question for you.
Yes.
And it's really a broad question, so you feel free to just narrow it down.
Yes.
With all the gifts and the talents that you have, like, I mean, I know you've done your acting thing in the past, and also, man, I want to send our condolences to you for, the passing of one of your co-stars, Paul Walker, from Too Fast, Too Furious.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and it's like so many avenues that you could have gone down. How did you decide to focus in on the rapping? Like, was it something that just you knew from coming away from the secular industry or the mainstream that you knew you wanted to hone your craft in this, or was it just like
I think,
could have gone either way?
I think as I grow in all these ways, one thing is like it's so hard to find the balance, but I love the challenge of it though, and it is in finding the balance between really speaking from the heart, but also being wise with my words, right? And it's tough because by nature, if you let me go, I could just go on and on about any topic, right? And, sometimes it's like less is more. But, your question just right now, it was composed of like 2 or 3 different points. I'm just going to address the first one, which is I heard you mention, that decision to say, I'm giving up secular rap and I'm going to do Christian rap. I think one thing that I always want to clarify is that's not the case. And the reason I say that's not the case is because to describe it like that makes it seem like I did something very noble and great, when in reality it wasn't that at all. What happened was, number one, I think it just happened very organically. So what happened was I had a life-changing experience first, and then that influenced my music, as opposed to how it may come across, which is what you described, which is like, it just looked like, Jen just, he decided to stop making secular music in that sense, and he started doing Christian rap. And the point is, I'm not saying, don't label what I do Christian rap, because, this is a topic that can spawn into a whole nother hour dialogue, right? But what I'm saying is, everybody has their own take on it. You have the rappers that say, don't put me in the Christian box. You have the rappers that say, I am a Christian rapper and I'm proud of it. And the ones that are denouncing it, man, they're not even really about the gospel. My whole point is, I think dialogue is always great. But there's some times where, like, I feel there could be time invested in more healthy and fruitful and progressive conversations. So my thing is, to the listener, if you want to put it in the box, knock yourself out. If you ask me, am I one? I think my answer to respond to that is I'm a Christian without a doubt, above everything else. Above being a rapper, above being a father, above being a husband, above all of that, I am a Christian first. My identity is rooted in that, and I stand by that the whole way. But, it's just a matter of, people have the concern of like, when you say it's just Christian rap, it limits it, and people that are not Christians won't listen to it. And I get that, but I just feel like, if you have that concern and you dwell on it so much, then the big thing is to really assess, well, where's your faith in God? If that's something so trivial that you're concerned about. So my approach to it all, like your question is, did you, what made you decide to give up secular rap and start doing Christian rap? I don't think that was what happened at all. It was just, by the grace of God, I just responded to what was happening in my life, and it just spilled into my music. And that's why you get the projects that have come out in the last year or so, regardless if it's the most recent, like Hypocrite, to, stuff before, like Crazy Love and, and so forth.
Right. I think the way you just put that is what our listening audience needs to hear. I think that what you just pointed out is the fact that before any title comes out, you label yourself as a Christian. And then anything else, because we live by that. Like, on our radio show, we sometimes have people asking, well, how come y'all don't open up the Bible and quote scripture and this, that, and the other? And we're saying, well, what's wrong with us just saying we're Christian men that have a radio show?
Absolutely.
So and our music group feels the same way. Our music group feels the same way.
But it's about, it's also about, and this is part of the whole process and growing and whatnot. And when we say, we got to be Christ-like, and, everybody rocks the wristbands, WWJD, what would Jesus do, right, and all that. At the end of the day, it's also being mindful that we even have to be loving to those individuals that are critical about it. Like you can't even be mad at them, right? If the Bible says, we got to love our enemies, that's not even my enemy, right? So that means I have to love them too. If I even, like, the individuals that are within the body that are saying, you have a Christian radio show, or you say it's a Christian radio show, but we don't always hear you talking about Bible scriptures every other 5 minutes. How can you call yourself a Christian? Like, the people that say that and criticize in that way, I mean, like, you take what their opinion is and you love them as much, and, and you can't, and, I don't know. That's my point is, like, a lot of it is it's about not necessarily getting to a bottom line, but having that dialogue with each other. And this is just this afternoon, I was speaking with a brother, and we were talking about just like, even as it pertains to the Bible, sometimes we read it and we're like, the answer, but the questions are important too. And that's the thing that I've been getting today is, it's about asking the right question sometimes, and not so much just about getting to the answer and getting the definitive of like, okay, as a Christian, do you or do you not work with non-Christians? Which is another topic that we can go on for hours about, right? So it's not so much about getting to the bottom line of it, but more so like, how can we encourage each other as we talk about it, right?
Yeah, in the same vein, I think you kind of touched on something that we recently had to talk about on our show, was the, that I think it was called the NCIF conference. NCFIC.
I don't know what that is. What's that?
Yeah, well, they had this conference. It was a group of older white gentlemen.
Oh, is that the one where the group of the older gentlemen, and then they just all collectively started going on a rant, and the real big thing was when one of them. I mean, I don't even want to repeat it and quote them because it seems unnecessary to revisit that. But yeah, I'm aware of it. As far as like what I read online. Yeah, I'm aware of it.
We did a show about that, and we kind of responded to it. What do you feel? Because you talked about the body of Christ kind of disagreeing on certain things like that. What is the response to people like? I don't know if you know about Craig Lewis and people like that. Is there any truth in what they're saying? Do you dismiss it all? Or
I'm not going to speak on it because I'm not familiar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the responses. So as far as like, do I feel like there's any truth in it? And you know what? I'm gonna respond with love on all sides on what the elder gentleman said. And then from what I read, they for the most part, each one of them they released some a form of apology statement as well, or a follow up. And regardless of if they released it or not. if we're really talking about, we're going to adhere to what the Bible says and in these manners, you can only respond in love, even regardless of who's right or wrong. And, and then as far as the response to the responses, same thing, that's all we can do. It's all. And I'm not saying I'm not saying this to say, we don't need to have dialogue about these type of situations. Nah, the dialogue's there. Apparently it's been going on. And from what I know, they've been pretty proactive about following up each one of those individuals, I think. But sometimes it is a matter of being wise isn't always having a response and knowing what to say, especially for us as as limited as our knowledge is,
Mm-hmm. No, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah. It can, and as I listen to myself, I feel like it can come across as kind of like a way to escape the controversy, but I think it's just discernment too. Even for the listeners, I pray that I'm saying it and the person listening can see the difference between, he's choosing not to say anything to be politically correct, or he's choosing not to comment on it to stray away from controversy. No, sometimes you have to be wise and choose to not comment, because if there's nothing particularly of wisdom or uplifting or edifying to say, then you are better off not saying anything. And I'm sure there's tons of stuff that we could go to in Proverbs pertaining to that matter. Just about the wise man speaks little or something like that. And in this case, especially since it's something that I don't, I'm not in the room with these gentlemen when they're having these dialogues with each other, so I don't feel I even have the right to comment on their perspectives towards each other.
So you would do great on our show, man. That's a great answer. Great answer.
Yeah, you would.
I mean, we're all learning. We're all learning.
Yeah.
No, man, we're really proud of what you're doing, man. And I just wanted you to know the impact that you have. And if you may not hear it, I'm sure you hear, of course, like you said, you hear all the, that was hot, this was hot. But the actual impact of the life that you're living,
Thank you.
Letting kids realize that it's possible to be in the position you are and love God with your whole heart. That's something that needs to be said. So you never hear that, sir. I appreciate that.
And I'll tell you, too.
Thank you. It's very encouraging.
Yeah, and Jen, I'll answer your earlier question, man. Have we gotten into the project? I actually have, man, and I love it, man. And you know what? You're right, man. It's not so much about whether or not you're trying to draw people into the beat or it's really the message. That's what I got when I listened to it. It was the message. And I listened to it from, 1 all the way through. And, man, I'm just so thankful to God, man, for your gifts, talents, and ability being used in the mightily way that He's using you. So, I mean, and it's so funny, too, Jen, because I always come off sounding like the biggest fan, but what I really am, man, and I'm just such a fan of Jesus and what He's about. There's so much, and I'm so proud of it.
You, Ryan. We're losing you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in my basement, so I know how that is sometimes.
No, but I hear you. It's appreciated. I get it. I know what you mean. Because sometimes, I don't know if you're a Gemini or not. I don't know if it has anything to do with being a Gemini, but
I'm a Cancer, so I see.
Okay. Well, whatever zodiac sign. I mean, I'm pretty passionate too about, as you're describing, and we can't come across as you just ODing, but when I find something that really speaks to me, be it if it's music, a film, or whatever, I feel that need and that urge to just, really give it the credit that I feel it deserves. So I get what you're saying. So, I mean, if the project spoke to you in some way and encouraged you or challenged you or anybody listening right now in some way, man, I'm thankful. I've been and am and continue to will be, and just hope to be able to do more work in that way. Whatever it may be, if it's through interviews, through the music, just through the interaction, that's all I want to do.
And we're gonna respect your time, man. Is there anything that, of course, the album we've been pushing that on the show? Is there anything else people need to know? The Twitter, Facebook, what do people know?
Oh yeah, you can hit me up at mczen.com. I think it's really cool because once you go there, that leads you to all of everything you just listed. the Twitter, the Instagram, the YouTube, all of that. So, yeah, hit me up at mcgen.com. The EP, what's really cool is what caught me off guard is I didn't expect so many people to be interested in physical copies. Because, the whole time I'm thinking, digital, iTunes was digital, and that was it. But, hey, people actually want physical copies. So for anyone listening that's interested, you can find out where to get that actually at thegreatcompany.com. It's spelled exactly how it sounds, thegreatcompany.com. So, yeah, so there's physical copies and those really awesome and nifty Hypocrite hats that I've been wearing, too. You can find those there.
Awesome, man. Man, we appreciate you coming on with us, man. It was truly an honor.
No doubt.
We're going to get out of here. You in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.